Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price this Sunday as we've seen a slight rejection of the $61,844 resistance level, with today's daily candle low just shy of the $58,350 support level. I had to get this video update out to you guys with our weekly candle closing in less than 3 hours. I told you guys I was open to short positions as Bitcoin crossed above 62,000 because we knew the only next roadblock would break Bitcoin into price discovery. And of course, for those inside of our Discord group, we took that short at 62,130. We're still inside of the short position since Bitcoin has yet to get back to this price since we entered this position. For those that are not inside of our Discord group, we have the best short and long trade signals in this market. And I want to talk about whether or not we're going to continue to see downside for Bitcoin, what the downside targets may look like, or if we're going to be able to rescue this extremely important support level as we head towards this test of it. And if that's the case, does that mean Bitcoin is going to be ready to move into price discovery? Well, that's going to be the main topic of today's video. By the way, I'm not going to have a video out in the next 24 hours. I'm flying back to Los Angeles from Dubai, so I just wanted to throw that out there. There's going to be a little bit of a time lapse. I didn't want any of you guys to get worried if I didn't post a video in the next 48 hours. But I definitely want to talk about what's happening here to the market, and I'm going to give you guys a very detailed perspective, starting with the weekly chart, because so far we have a wick inside of this range above 61,844. The reason we took a short position at 62,000 is because I was assuming that there was a potential of a lower high forming here, knowing that the next roadblock would have broke Bitcoin back into price discovery. And this is the first time that those that have had positions in Bitcoin since October of 2020, when it first broke 10,000 US dollars, they now have the opportunity to sell Bitcoin above 60,000 and only trigger long-term capital gains, which is half the tax of short-term capital gains. And because psychology is the primary part of a market, we took that short position, and we're still open to long positions as we always are. We actually take a lot more long positions than short positions, being the fact that long positions have only 100% downside because an asset can only go down 100% versus short positions, which are extremely high risk with an asset potentially going up to infinity. There's an infinite downside. You want to be in and out of those short positions, but because Bitcoin is yet to get back towards 62,000, is this the money play that we've taken here at 62,130 for those that moved their stop loss to break even once we broke down below 61,844? We're going to talk about that today, but on the weekly chart, we don't have too many hints right now as to where Bitcoin wants to head into the next weekly candle. But here's what we do know. The total cryptocurrency market cap did form a new all-time high. And a lot of people will say when any asset forms a new all-time high, it enters into price discovery. Well, guess what? The total cryptocurrency market cap isn't necessarily an individual asset. And so that was also part of our thesis when we took this short position, that it wasn't going to be that exciting for the total market cap to form a higher high and break into new highs versus if Bitcoin as an individual asset were to actually go and break into new all-time highs. And we also talked about the psychology of the Bitcoin ETF on October 18th, potentially investors buying the hype to sell the news. These are all things that are still on the table, but what we know for a fact is that Bitcoin dominance is on its way up. And there's only two reasons Bitcoin dominance would start to move up with decisiveness the way it is above the 200-day moving average. And that's if Bitcoin is ready to enter into a new bull cycle, and of course altcoins will follow later, or if we're seeing altcoins hedge into Bitcoin in expectation of downside within the total cryptocurrency market. And so we're going to really get that answer in the next 2 weeks, I believe. But what we do want to start monitoring is the micro time frames, because the range that we're playing in is 61,844 and 58,353. And so the rule on the Snipers channel is we wait for first an hourly confirmation and then a 4-hour confirmation. And when I say confirmation, a full body and wick above those levels or below those levels. And so when we move into the 4-hour chart, notice how we have yet to get a full 4-hour candle above 61,844. That was another reason we took that short position right here at 62,100-ish, and Bitcoin is yet to even get back to that price. Now, the $58,353 level is the next major support. If we see a test of this level into Sunday, heading into the Bitcoin ETF news on October 18th, we must hold 4-hour candles above 58,353 if we don't want to assume that Bitcoin is going to break back into the range with a potential support level of 49,700. And so that would potentially bring a downside of 15% to Bitcoin's price, breaking 58,353. Sorry, I'm a little off on my charts. I haven't slept in 24 hours as I head into this flight, but what's important to note is 58,353 is the major support level, and 61,844 right now is the major resistance, and that's the range that we're playing in. And so that's what we're going to be monitoring here on the Snipers channel. Now, let's talk about some of these revolving parts that could give us some hints as to what Bitcoin wants to do now that you guys understand where we stand in this market here on the Snipers channel. We've been saying that Ethereum is most likely the last altcoin that is going to be able to see strength against Bitcoin, being that it's the largest altcoin, and that we're still going to potentially see weakness with the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, which is why the Bitcoin dominance chart is able to rise. And that has certainly proven true so far, with Ethereum failing to break the highs from September 6th, when we actually started to see the whole schematics of Bitcoin dominance moving decisively above the 20-week moving average, and altcoins starting to wane off actually occurred, which was on September 6th. That was pretty much the day that altcoin season started to slow down. I don't want to say it's ended yet, because that we'll get a confirmation of in the next 2 weeks, I believe. But because Ethereum to the US dollar pairing has yet to break the highs from September 6th, that validates our thesis that we're potentially seeing weakness here against Bitcoin, and that is going to prevent the Ethereum US dollar price from breaking above this September 6th high. If that changes, then we can start assuming a different opinion. But we like to predict the markets based on correlations, because we know that money can't move to two places at once here on the Snipers channel. It moves to one place, and if that place that it moves to has a correlated asset, then we can predict that that correlated asset is also going to see that type of price action. And so at this point, if Ethereum is not able to get above 39.59, the next major support level is going to be 36.50, but really it's the 34.54 level, being that Ethereum is a more volatile asset. We break 34.54, and guess what? Now we have potential downside towards 1,980 US dollars. We break above 39.59, that can change the story. And we're always catering towards the bulls and the bears on this channel. We're never just going to be bullish, and we're never just going to be bearish on this channel. If Bitcoin does go into price discovery, you're damn right that we're not going to be taking short positions on Bitcoin. Why did we take a short position at 62,130? Because it just made sense to, and there's money to be made on the short and the long side in this market. And so with Ethereum right now testing 36.50, this is a big puzzle piece. The most important chart to look at when observing altcoins is always their Bitcoin pairing, because that's where you see the manipulation, number one, and number two, you get the real understanding of the strength. And notice how we're seeing Ethereum to Bitcoin testing this major support area where we have the weekly open, the market structural support, and the 200-day moving average, with the chart that factors in all of the altcoins outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's a custom chart already below the 200-day moving average. The question is, do we expect just Ethereum, the one altcoin, to decouple away from every other altcoin and move to the upside? I don't know. That's up to you guys to determine. But in my books, we like to look at the patterns of the past, and we like to stick to the fundamentals of the market. And as Cathie Wood says, when Bitcoin dominance is moving up, there's no altcoin that is safe against Bitcoin dominance. Of course, there's always isolated cases like we saw in 2018 with Link, but for the most part, when it comes to the mid caps and the large caps, those are going to follow the patterns of the past for the most part. And so when it comes to the revolving parts like the DXY, the S&P 500, the international markets, we're not going to get too far into them, but I will say this: the DXY is calm right now. It's not moving up decisively. That's a good thing. The S&P 500 reclaimed itself above the 50-day and 100-day moving average and 20-week moving average, that's a good thing. The gold to Bitcoin chart is still showing weakness as if it wants to continue further down. Why is this chart important? Well, on April 14th, when Bitcoin hit 64,000 US dollars for the first time, we started to notice how close we were getting to this 50-day moving average with a hard asset like gold against Bitcoin. And we started to draw out this wedge and say, if this wedge breaks out, I think that we could potentially be seeing a top. Why? Because as I mentioned earlier, what do we do on this channel? We look at the patterns of the past, we look at correlated assets, and we predict what's going to happen based on that. And in 2018, when Bitcoin topped out, it did the exact same thing. It was the first time we crossed back above the 50-day moving average against gold. And so the difference this time, though, is we didn't come back down immediately to see further strength for Bitcoin against gold. This time we are. And so this is a little bit of a different playbook. Could that be because maybe the ETF is going to legitimize Bitcoin as storage of value more than it did, in 2018 when there were rumors about it? I don't know. But what I will tell you is if I'm going to be buying Bitcoin, it's not going to be through an ETF. It's going to be on a spot exchange and then putting it into my ledger or my Trezor. But what we will talk about is the chart still showing a possible continuation. That's a good thing. And so it looks like the 4D environment outside of Bitcoin looks in the favor of Bitcoin. But the question is, how is Bitcoin going to react inside of the range of 61,844 and 58,353? In my opinion, there's a very high chance we could break into a new bull cycle at any point. But we have to consider the timeline. With October 18th approaching and the excitement already there, what is the next move over the next few weeks for Bitcoin? To see a push down or to just drive straight into price discovery? I think we're going to find that out here real soon. For those inside of our Discord group, once again, we send out the best cryptocurrency trade signals in this market to know when to long and short the market. The link is in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the Discord. We had an amazing live call yesterday with some of our members. I was answering questions about how to use 3 commas, what exchanges are preferred right now with Binance implementing withdrawal limits. So a lot of people are moving to KuCoin. And so I love our community. It's also the #1 cryptocurrency Discord community in the world. Our crypto chat is just going crazy every single minute. You can see even right now, 5:52. It's currently 5:52. We've got one of our best contributors, Adonis, who I appreciate so much, already in the chat. And so I'm going to be monitoring the Discord while on my flight back to Los Angeles. Once again, if I don't have a video out in the next 24 to 48 hours, don't be worried. It's because of the time lapse. I'm literally going across the world. And so bear with me there. And with that, I hope you enjoyed today's analysis, snipers. Happy Sunday to you all. Have a fun day. And until next time, snipers,